Hello students, a very good morning to all of you. In your previous class, we started to learn about the exception handling in Java. So what do you mean by exceptions? It is the abnormal condition that arises at your runtime. We already see the errors and your exceptions. Okay, so जो भी आपका runtime errors रहता है, that comes under your exceptions. Okay, so even that disrupts the normal flow of your program, and it is an object which is thrown at your runtime. So what do you mean by exception handling? So what it can do in your Java programming, how do it help you? So exception handling is a mechanism to handle the runtime errors. Normal flow of the application can be maintained by this concept, that is your exception handling, where we are using different keywords, that is try, which catch the try block, you keep the exception, then catch block, it catch the exception and handle it, and we also use the throw keyword, and finally, so it is an object which is thrown at your runtime, and exception handling done with the exception object. Okay, so what is the exception handling mechanism here? So see here, this is the try block where the statements that may cause an exception is present, and this is the exception object creator, and if the exception occurs, then it throws exception object, then which is catched by the catch block, and the statements that handle the exception if it occurred in your try block. Okay, so this catch block handle this exception. So this is the exception handler. Okay, so here what it tells, that when the try block throws an exception, the program control leaves the try block and it enters into your, you see that it enters into your catch statement of the catch block. So if the type of object thrown matches the argument type in the catch statement, जो भी वो argument दिया है वो match कर रहा है, then the catch block is executed. Otherwise, the program is terminated with the help of the abort function. Okay. So here, this is the simple syntax कि आप फॉलो करते थे कि दिस इज अ ट्राई, देन ब्लॉक ऑफ द कोड ऑफ अ ट्राई, देन कैच एक्सेप्शन, देन ब्लॉक ऑफ द कोड टू हैंडल एरर. सो हियर ये जो ई लिख रहे हो, इसके बदले में आप कुछ भी लिख सकते हो. सो बट दिस इज द टाइप ऑफ एक्सेप्शन. यहाँ पे आप नल एक्सेप्शन, नल पॉइंटर एक्सेप्शन लिख सकते हो. ओके, सो यहाँ पे मैं एक्सेप्शन लिखी हूँ, दिस इज कांस्टेंट, वो रहेगा ही. So E is just a variable, so E stands for your exception, but you can rename it anything you like. However, the data type has to remain exception. So data type आपका exception रहेगा, and this E variable or any other variable that stores an exception type object in this case. Okay, so this is a simple example. We see it, that कि आपका कैसे एक्सेप्शन ऑकर होता है. सो यहाँ पे मैं सम की हूँ 2 numbers, enter the first number, enter the second number, then what I will do, that I am not entering, मैं ऑनलाइन आईडी में रन कर रही थी, I am not entering any input there. So it shows these types of exception. That exception in thread main java.util no such elements exceptions. It shows these types of exception. Okay, so how we are using finally statement in your exception handling. So syntax आपका है, आप try, then try block में जो भी statement 1 या statement 2 रहेगा, then आप इस तरह से भी लिख सकते हो, direct it goes to the finally block, then inside that finally block that will execute. Okay, और so आपका यहाँ पे देखो ट्राई है, देन इसके अंदर जो भी स्टेटमेंट है, देन दिस इज द कैच ब्लॉक, देन द स्टेटमेंट हियर, सॉरी दिस इज मिसिंग. Yeah, okay. So this is the finally a block, and then this inside that the statement is there. Okay, so here what happens that there are different cases. So control flow in track catch close or your track catch finally close. Okay, so here first case आपका क्या होता है कि हम लोग we will see the example that exception occurs in try block and handle in your catch block. Exception occur in try block and it is not handled in the catch block. And in the third case we see that exception doesn't occur in your try block. Okay. So using the try and finally clause, the first case what happens that exception occurred in try block and the exception doesn't occur in your try block. Okay. So we will see this in through some examples. So here in this syntax it says that a finally block follows a try block or a catch block. Then a finally block of code always executes irrespective of occurrence of an exception. Okay, always execute. Okay, exception हुआ नहीं हुआ. And using a final block, it allows you to run any cleanup type statements that you want to execute, no matter what happens in the protected code. Okay, so this finally block appears at the end of the catch block. Here you see that end of the catch block. Okay, and has the following syntax, this one. Okay, so see here the first example that exception doesn't occur. So here I'm taking a class that is test finally, and there is the main method, and this is the try block. I'm starting here. Here you see normally आप देखोगे तो भी यहाँ पे कोई error नहीं है, because when I am dividing the value of 10 by 5, then it will show you the result that is 5. So जो data वो print करेगा, it will give you the output that is 5. And if I am writing here the catch block here, that is null pointer exception, so 10 by 5 it will show you 5, no errors, कोई गलती नहीं दिखाएगा वहाँ पे. So यहाँ पे मैं exception अगर दूँ null pointer exception e, and it will print what type of exception is there, then जो exception admin रहेगा वो show करेगा. Then this is the finally block, that is I'm printing here finally block. Then if there is some other codes are there, then I am printing in that line this statement. Okay, so it will show you the output. So if I run it, then it will show you the output like this, because it has no error. So there is no exception, so that exception नहीं है तो ये हम लोग जो भी अगर exception होता है then that is catched by your catch block. So यहाँ पे कोई exception नहीं हो, then it will print 10 by 5. Here is your 2, and then it will print you. Anyhow this block execute, that is finally block, then it will show you the code. Okay, so now come to example 2 where exception occurs and not handled. So here the class name test finally, then main method, then there is the exception. Then here you see that whenever we are dividing any number with 0, then वो कोई रिजल्ट दिखाता है कि कोई वैल्यू दिखाता है नहीं. So it is a null pointer exception error, and thus that is your null value. So it is cached. Actually हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि exception occurs but and not handled. So here मैं यहाँ पे finally block लिखी हूँ, where I am writing finally block, and here it will print the code. So let us see what is the result of this. This final will be your small letter. Just copy it, copy, then reset the value, Control V, then run it. Let's see what will be the output. okay, I'm leave that class. Okay, Control C, then run it. So see, exception in thread main java.lang arithmetic exception is divided by 0 at the test final dot main class. ओके सो ये आपको ये दिखाएगा ये कोई एक्सेप्शन हैंडल नहीं कर रहा है. देन लेट्स कम बैक. सो हियर वी सी एक्सेप्शन ऑकर हो रहा है बट इट इज नॉट हैंडल्ड. द थर्ड केस एक्सेप्शन ऑकर्स एंड इट इज हैंडल्ड. So this is the class name, the main method. Here in the try block I am putting the exception, that is the 10 divided by your 0, and assigning this value to the data. Then here the arithmetic exception in the catch block. Then system.out.println. then जो भी exception का argument होगा वो यहाँ पे आएगा. So this value will be executed, जो भी exception value रहेगा. So the final in the finally block, and this will be your small finally block. It will show you finally block, then code. So here let's see what will the output here. Control C. So it will show you, just wait. Okay, it will show you like this: java.lang.arithmetic exception, which is divided by 0. Then it show you the finally block and code. Okay, so this is handled here. So other examples we will see that here exception occurs in try block and handle in your catch block. जैसे यहाँ पे array size में ली हूँ 4, मतलब क्या है, 3 वैल्यू रहेगा and indexing always start from your 0, that 0th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So 4 value means size will be 4, but here I want to see the value which is positioning at your क्या यहाँ पे ये क्या है आपका I का वैल्यू यहाँ पे आएगा. तो एरे ऑफ जो 4th या फिर 5th नंबर में होगा, मतलब हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, 0, then 0th index, then 1st index, then 2nd index, then 3rd index. मतलब क्या है, ये 4 वैल्यू हो गया. बट मैं एरे ऑफ 4 दिखना चाह रही हूँ. बट एरे ऑफ 4 में क्या है, एरे ऑफ 4 में तो कुछ है ही नहीं. यहाँ पे हम लोग तो 0 से 3 इंडेक्स तक है, 4th इंडेक्स है नहीं है. सो दिस स्टेटमेंट विल नेवर एक्सिक्यूटेड as exception is raised by the above statement, this statement. Okay, so it will, there is a printing statement that is inside the try block here. Then this is the catch, that is array index out of bound exception. So here look here, यहाँ पे e नहीं ली हूँ मैं, ex ली हूँ. ओके, सो आप यहाँ पे कुछ भी ले सकते हो, बट द टाइप यहाँ पे जो रहेगा that should be correct. Okay, then system.out.println, it will show you exception caught in catch block. Then rest of the program will be executed, या फिर उससे बाहर आ जाएगा तो outside the try clause. Then it will show you this type of output. So exception caught in the catch block. Okay, exception catch block में handle हुआ and outside try block. So ये आपको ये output दिखाएगा. Okay, next thing, that exception occurred in try block is not handled in your catch block. Here see here the same thing, ये चीज दिखा है. तो एक्सेप्शन आपका कहाँ पे हो रहा है, यहाँ पे हो रहा है. मीन्स दिस स्टेटमेंट विल नेवर एक्सिक्यूट एंड एज एक्सेप्शन इज रेज्ड अबव इन दिस स्टेटमेंट. ओके, so here the printing statement that inside your try block, but not a appropriate handler here, means catch null pointer exception. So here you see array index out of bounds exception, ex. Okay, ये होना चाहिए सो हियर जो एक्सेप्शन है आपका क्या लिखा हुआ है कैच में, नल पॉइंटर एक्सेप्शन, देन इट विल प्रिंट एक्सेप्शन हैज बीन कॉट. सो सिस्टम डॉट आउट डॉट प्रिंटलन यहाँ प्रिंट करेगा आउटसाइड द ट्राई क्लॉज. सो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है ना, लेट अस रन दिस प्रोग्राम. ओके, just wait. Control C, it's reset. Then run. Sorry, this will be okay. So here it will show you this exception is arrayed as out of bound section, mean index 4 out of bounds for at try exception dot main class, जो class था try exception उस class में. Okay, so here so this is not handled in your catch block. The next thing is that exception doesn't occur in your try block. Here it will not show you any error because this is the integer dot parse int हम लोग जो method use कर रहे हैं and passing the string. So this statement will execute as no any exception is raised by the above statement. It will show that it will print that try block fully executed. Then आपका कैच में है नंबर फॉर्मेट एक्सेप्शन, कोई एक्सेप्शन नहीं है यहाँ पे. ओके, सो इट विल शो यू द करेक्ट रिजल्ट, इट विल नॉट शो यू एनी एरर. सो आपको फाइनली दिखाएगा ट्राई ब्लॉक फुल्ली एक्सिक्यूटेड. ओके, दिस ब्लॉक try block fully executed, then finally block executed, then outside try clause. Okay, so this is all about the using of the finally statement in your exception handling.